Hello, welcome back, everyone, to Polititokers. The word with the name, no.
Great start.
The word with the word tit in it. We're here with Kim, Jackie, and Jason today. And I know we're like a day or two late on this discussion because there's been a lot of talk about it. Although it does not seem to be going away, it seems to be dying down, but it's the whole super straight trend, which kind of took over TikTok over the weekend and spurred a bunch of super straight hashtag videos. Although I have noticed they have completely done away with that hashtag. You can't look up anything under that hashtag anymore. It's gone.
Ooh, good.
Yeah. They completely did away with it because too many people, I guess, were using it, and you can't. If you search super straight on TikTok, it says no results now. Initially, they were suppressing a lot of videos of people that were speaking out against it. And I guess eventually too many people caught on to this being a toxic trend, and they caught too much backlash from it. I'll show you guys the videos if you want, because I kept seeing in our Discord, people were posting links to the videos. So I actually then today found out there was a super straight song. So since you can't go on the super straight hashtag anymore, you can go on the song and the sound and go through the videos on that, which I'd say more than half are people making fun of it. So that's good. Yeah.
Is the super straight song It's Raining Men?
Don't make me laugh. This is full.
It should be.
So you telling me you got our own flag and our own anthem?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Really? They are not using him.
We both said the same thing.
God.
This is embarrassing.
It really is. Oh, it's the mask below the nose for me.
I was just about to say that. It's the mask below the nose.
So that's how you spot them?
I feel like, yeah. It's like a quick way to clock people. Like, you can tell exactly what someone's about if their mask is below their nose. Like, they're wearing it, but it's below the nose.
Yeah, they're a piece of shit.
Exactly.
Oh, and this one, no surprise. We have
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good giveaway right there. He looks like he's super straight.
this is
No, don't do it!
no.
Not the hat. The hat flick is like the most unintimidating gesture I've ever seen in my entire life. Anytime they do it, I'm like, you just cut your intimidation factor down by like at least 17%. None of it's
Going like this.
It's already pretty low, but now?
exactly. Like, what did this do? Nothing. Literally nothing.
I mean, I thought it was so cute before when, guys would think, just to be cute, and now they've ruined it. Thank you.
Well, they went stupid with it.
They ruined everything.
Yeah, yes, they do. They ruin everything.
I can't with that song. It's awful.
Super straight.
What's sad is like they actually think it does something too. They're like, this is cool. Like, I can see the wheels turning in their head. They're like, no, this is sick.
Does anybody actually explain what it is? Because I don't know what it is.
The one video that started it all.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Yeah, I know this guy.
Kyle. Of course it's a Kyle.
Oh,
How perfect is that?
What, a
Dude's
Kyle?
name is actually Kyle.
A Hunter, perhaps, sprinkled in at some point.
He's the one who started.
A new sexuality now, actually. It's called super straight, okay? Since straight people or straight men as myself, I get called transphobic because I wouldn't date a trans woman. They're like, would you date a trans woman? I'm like, no, why? That's female. No, like, that's not a real woman to me. Like, I want a real woman. No, you're just transphobic. So now, I'm super straight. I only date the opposite gender, women, that are born women. So you can't say I'm transphobic now because that's just my sexuality,
In other words,
we can.
I'm transphobic.
We can still call you transphobic.
Because that's literally what he's saying.
But therein lies the entire crux of the issue. It is made up. They literally just don't want to get called transphobic when they are transphobic. So they want to be able to display their transphobia proudly without being called transphobic.
You can have a sexual preference.
Yeah, that's
I
not the
mean,
issue here.
Yeah, my sexual preference is he's sitting right there, but I mean, he's dark and tall and handsome, but I mean, that's my preference. I like darker guys.
You don't have to be your super whatever. That's actually a band name, super whatever. So I like nerdy guys. So I'm not like super straight nerd. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't want to date someone with a specific genital, if you're talking like specific genitals, okay, that is a preference that I can respect. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're transphobic. The transphobic part is going around and declaring a whole sexuality based on it and hijacking it and saying you're part of the
LGBTQ community, which you are not
Right.
a part of.
And I had a friend a while back, we had a cast member that was transgender, and I didn't know he was. I mean, I went like several weeks without figuring out. He just mentioned in passing. I was like, oh, I had no idea, but that's cool. And then he brought a date to the show at some point, and we were sitting and hanging out afterwards, and the date didn't know. So there was an issue because she found out later, and she was mad because she was like, well, it would have been nice if you told me, I'd like to know these
Beforehand.
things. Right. I don't know how much surgery he had. He'd already had the breast removal surgery.
So you have top surgery. Okay.
Yeah. I'd love to hear what you guys think.
At least with like that situation, from what I know from the people who I'm friends with who are trans, it's
Right.
very much like a personal decision as to when you tell people that you're romantically interested in, if you, or when you tell them that you're trans, because at some point you're most likely going to have that discussion.
Right.
But it's definitely a personal preference as to when you do it. I know some trans people who are very upfront and just like it's not even like something that they have to tell people if they're trying to start like a romantic relationship with them. It's just like from the top of a conversation, they're very open about the fact that they're trans. But for some people, it's a totally different situation. I don't know all of the exact statistics, but I know that within the LGBTQ plus community, being trans, you have higher rates of mental illness, higher rates of suicide ideation, or possibly doing that or self-harm. So being trans is a very difficult thing, especially in today's society. Unfortunately, people are just still not entirely used to it, even though
Right.
trans people and LGBTQ plus people have been around since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
We just haven't talked about it openly enough and made it common enough for people to discuss it to where it's commonplace that we're having these discussions. I think that's, at least in terms of the situation that you were talking about with your friend who hadn't disclosed it, who knows when they would have told them or whatever the reasoning was, if we made it more commonplace for people to have these discussions, it probably wouldn't have been as much of an issue. But
Yeah. And
you
this is
never
going
know,
back
and you never
at
know
least
safety.
this is going back at least 15 years. This is a while back.
Ooh.
So
Gotcha.
Oh, well,
okay.
see,
Yeah,
yeah,
this this is progressive. Like
Yeah.
I thought it was
we are
pretty
very
cool that-
progressed from that then.
I mean, I thought it was
at
pretty
least
cool
some
that we-
people have.
I thought it was pretty cool that we had a transgender cast member pretty early, and we're just
Mhm.
like, sure, whatever.
Absolutely. And that speaks amazing things to the acceptance and the mindset of the people like within your group. But
Yeah.
like I said before, like you never know.
Yeah.
You literally, when it comes to acceptance of trans people, it's a shot in the dark. You never
Right.
know, which is kind of the unfortunate thing.
Is it transphobic to say you would not date a transgender, or do you just consider that a preference? Because that's what I'm perceiving the difference is.
Well, for me, honestly, all it is a preference. I like my men, like him. That's my preference. But when you get into the whole, at least for my age, okay, it is kind of new. I mean, of course, they've been around. It's just now it's more socially acceptable. It's starting to get more socially acceptable. But I mean, that's a sexual preference. I mean, just like in that of not dating a trans person. Okay, so dating, what does it usually end up with in sexual relations? Okay, well, what if they're not prepared for that? What if they don't? Okay, that you don't want that. Okay, well, it's the same thing, but that's just my point of view.
It's really an issue that I don't know enough about to speak on. I let people live their lives. So me, I don't think I'd give a shit either way. It's never happened. I've never dated a trans person. And if I have, I didn't know. They never told me. So it's not like it's happening on the regular, is what I'm thinking. Because it's never happened to me, but I could be wrong. Maybe it is happening to everybody else.
When this trend first started gaining traction, or no, I don't want to call it a trend. It's
No,
just
no,
when
no,
this
no, no.
moment first started, like kind of blowing up on TikTok, the only thing I could think of was like, of all of the initials y'all could have done, y'all had to land on something that started with SS.
It's S.
Yep.
Yeah.
As I've said
Doesn't surprise
before,
me.
if you
Well,
if
no. When
if
you
it harkens to the Nazis, it's not a good idea. Just
No.
in general.
It's confused.
And in some of those posts on 4chan, it actually had stuff at
Yeah.
the bottom, like Nazi lingo at the bottom.
But it did
Well,
not originate
Thank you, Hitler.
from the far right, correct?
yeah,
Right. It originated with that video that we just showed you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone
and they
saw
decided
that.
to take it.
And then they pushed
That
it as
yeah,
well.
that video blew up, and then a girl
Okay.
did a response, and then they just took it and decided to tell everyone that basically, if you don't, your sexual preference is now sexuality. So people heard this and said, wait a minute, well, I'm really not into someone that has those genitals, or these that was born with these genitals, so that means I'm super straight too.
From what I've seen from most people, and similar to Jason, I don't want to speak out of turn on it,
Yeah.
just because, you know, I'm not trans, so I don't know how people within the trans community specifically, because unfortunately when I've seen videos about it, I haven't seen a whole lot of trans creators or content makers on TikTok or otherwise talking about it. I don't know what the issue is with that, but I think that speaks to something where I haven't seen enough from them to see what their point of view is. But from most people, I think the generalized idea is like, you can have a preference as to what genitalia you would prefer within sexual relationships.
Orange,
All right, can you hear
orange,
me?
orange is not the new black. That's what I gotta say, because they picked orange and black. No.
It's also the
I-
grinder
Yeah.
the grinder colors and logos. And I was like, again, the logic just seems to escape everybody. Just every single time.
They're so funny.
It just, like I said this before we officially technically started recording, but with most of these trends, and unfortunately I've mainly seen a lot of Republicans and people on the right calling them or coming out as super straight. It typically airs from them always being in a place of privilege and then wanting to capitalize off of perceived oppression. That's literally what it is every single time I see something like this.
Oppression.
I'm like, you guys just want to be oppressed so bad.
So bad.
And for
I
what
wanna be oppressed.
reason? And for what reason? Like, we've told you what it ends in
They
every
wanna
single
be
time.
oppressed, but they don't want to actually be depressed or oppressed.
Exactly.
Well,
They label
I-
themselves as oppressed.
They don't know what it means. So that's
Yeah.
I've had a lot of comments because I did put a video up about it, and they were saying, you're not accepting me, you're super whatever phobia or
Jesus.
Because they're being
that's
stupid.
not a thing. Yes, it is. You're being super phobic. I'm like, so mean I'm afraid of
phobic.
Are you
don't-
afraid-
don't-
Are you afraid of Superman? Yeah, maybe that's what it I don't know.
So for the bullet points, it said super straight started to trend on social media when users claimed it as their sexual orientation. The descriptor started on TikTok, but gained traction on toxic forums like 4chan and Kiwi Farms. And in deleted threads, users pushed to spread the transphobic trend to divide LGBTQ people. Over the past week, some people online have been openly referring to themselves as super straight, causing the term to trend across various social media platforms. According to Urban Dictionary, the term is meant to refer to a preference of the opposite sex with the exclusion of transgender people. Though it's describing a preference, members of the transphobic movement claim it's a sexual orientation and have caused intense discord online. What many users encountering the idea for the first time may not know, however, is that the chaos caused by the idea is precisely the point. According to discussion threads on 4chan, trolls deliberately plan to provoke a reaction and divide the LGBTQ communities by spreading the super straight idea. It appears that the super straight can be traced back to TikTok Kyle Royce, who on February 21st posted a video titled "Who Else is Super Straight?" The deleted video, which has been re-uploaded to YouTube, shows the content creator sitting in a car sharing his thoughts with the hashtag sexuality and funny, which great start. The video pulled in over 1 million views before the creator took it down, saying in a comment that others had sent death threats to my mom over it. In the video, the creator is explicit about coining the term because he was tired of being called transphobic. At which, as a hint, if you're creating an entire term because you're being consistently labeled transphobic, there's a lot to unpack within that. So
You're probably transphobic.
you're probably transphobic if you have
If
to
the
create an
shoe
entire
fits.
label. If the shoe fits, girl.
So basically, he created this super straight so he could, say, "Hey, you're oppressing me because you're calling me transphobic." Is
I
that what I'm
think-
getting?
I think he was
Just trying to
yeah.
stop people from calling him transphobic.
I
Yeah.
think that's essentially what it was. And then it just, because it was born out of his transphobia, it just elicited more people calling him transphobic, which like, if
And-
you didn't see that coming, I don't know what to
Yeah.
tell you.
Well,
Now-
he's a kid too. And then you've got all these, the neo-Nazis going, ooh, let's do this with it, anything to
Mhm.
do to stir up problems and just anything like that. Oh, whoa.
Yeah. So yeah, gay men mutilate themselves to create a P word. No
Oh.
sane man wants to F the inverted. I'll keep that part out. Mutilated gay men claim they are being oppressed because sane men won't F them, call them transphobic. Zoomers forced to create new sexuality conform, even though we are SS now. Let's make March SS Pride Month. Whoa, that is so not necessary.
What?
And then they
So
created this.
There it is.
Wow.
That's-
They didn't
yeah.
even try to change it.
No, of course not. Because
Am
they
I
are
missing something with this logo?
That's the
That's it.
SS. That
Nazi
looks.
SS.
Oh,
This is where it all got really bad. It just took
yeah,
a
it's
bad, and this was
the-
March. This was 3 days ago.
so that kid Kyle posted the video first, and then it started making its rounds onto things like this, correct?
It did, yes.
Okay.
That's
it's
a Nazi SS symbol. I don't know if you guys
Wow.
can see it.
It's not a good
Yep.
symbol.
Yeah, so
It's
they literally
straight
didn't
up-
even try.
no, because they took it and said, let's do this because they want to divide, which doesn't make sense on why it would divide us. All it is making us more together and banding together to try to stop whatever this
Oh,
fuckery is.
this is early. This is back on the 5th. This one right here, making this thread before other one hits bump thread. Drive a wedge between bad slur word for transgender. Red pill zoomers use the left's tactics against them. Call them bigots for not accepting super straights.
Somebody made a video where they were making fun of people who were claimed to be super straight, and I was like, thank you. And then of course people who are super straight commented on my comment where I was basically like, thank you for saying this, and they were like, is it blah blah blah, is it that bad if I want to be able to have kids with my partner? And I'm like,
that's
well,
not
first of all,
even-
you could adopt. That is an option. First of all, you are capable of having children with a partner even if they're trans. There are options for you. And second of all, at this point,
You
just
have
say you're
a
transphobic. Just fucking own it. If you're gonna go through all of these hoops to try and act like you're not transphobic, when the entire point of why this thing came around or this label came around is because you were being called transphobic, just own it. There's literally no point to trying to shade your way away from it and act like we're the bigoted ones for saying that you're being rude and horrible with it. Like, just own it. If you're gonna be a bigot, just be a bigot. Stop trying to shade it. Stop trying to hide it under niceties. Stop trying to hide it under labels. Just be
I feel like
fucking
half
bigot.
of them.
Hell yeah.
I feel like half of them just doing it just to troll. They're doing it
For
was a joke.
sure.
They're like, oh, this is a joke. You guys can't even take it.
It's dark humor.
Stop.
Yeah, that's literally that's all they say is dark humor, dark humor, dark humor.
That's
Fuck
not what
you.
dark
That's not
humor
what
is.
Dark humor is. Thank you.
This blew up right after his, and I think actually this happened around the same time that the 4chan and the other forums were starting to blow up. It was her reacting to it.
This video by now, the super straight thing. Yeah, so many people have tagged me in this video, and I was wondering why no one else had responded to it. Then I realized it's because TikTok won't let us. I posted this video 3 times now. It's been 13 hours since the first time I posted it, and it still has 0 views. Then I did some further digging. That video has over 5 million views. They've now created a flag. Like, this is now a movement, apparently. So then I went to go see who else stitched the video. I said, surely other people are talking about this. No, there's a few stitches here and there with minimal views and only consisting of people who agree with him. Are we surprised though? Because TikTok thrives off of transphobia, homophobia, racism, misogyny, etc. All I said in my response was that it's honestly embarrassing that so many people lack the emotional maturity and intelligence to just introspect and reflect upon their prejudices and biases. So they make up a whole new sexuality to protect their transphobia, and TikTok is protecting it with their life. So I'm
Well, they eventually took away the hashtag, so, but this happened for a while.
Her video popped up on my For You page, and it was the first one. And I follow her, which I assume is the reason why it popped up on my For You page. But hers was the first video that even like introduced me to it. I hadn't seen anything else about it by anybody else that I follow.
I found this one.
Call yourself super straight and still get no bitches. Like, what the fuck?
It's great.
What the fuck? Hello. Yo, I'm gonna check his vibe. What are you? Yeah, what are you?
Is that like an actual
boy.
Pornhub shirt that he's wearing?
It is, I think.
Chaos.
It looks
okay,
like
great.
Yeah.
We
Great.
could watch him.
Great.
I am super straight. Super straight is a new sexual orientation. It means you would date the opposite gender, but not if they were trans. This is not the same thing as transphobic, just like how gay men that only date men aren't sexist to women.
Okay. I don't buy it.
If you gotta clarify something's not something,
I don't believe you.
It probably is. Can we also just, I want to take a moment to note that typically, and maybe I've been interpreting this incorrectly, the LGBTQ plus, like the letters have expanded as we've developed new labels for X, whatever, and then they've typically been added to the end. Can we just take a minute to note that they added the SS to the top of the acronym?
Where?
It
Did y'all
came
notice
first,
that?
right
Like
here.
they made it the first set of initials
Oh my
instead of
lord.
like the last set. And I'm not. Who knows what?
I didn't
the
even
exact
notice
logic
that.
was
I'm
behind
glad-
that,
I did
but was
not
like,
notice that. That's
maybe it wasn't
disgusting.
intentional, but I'm like,
Obviously,
it
no.
feels
come
a
on.
little
No, no, no,
intentional.
no, no, no.
intentional.
It is.
Yeah.
It's intentional. Yeah.
Like all privileged people, they believe they belong in the front.
Yes.
Oh wait, there it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jason. I
It's
love you.
also, it's so fucking ignorant for him to be like, in the same way that gay men are not sexist towards women for not being attracted to it. I'm like, what the fuck are you like, are you literally just pulling shit out of your ass at this point?
Oh yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I have this
Simply
one.
saying I don't find them attractive, and when I do say this, I receive hate and abuse as if they are trying to force straight people to find them attractive, what seems very perverted.
Okay. He still doesn't understand. It's not a sexuality. This isn't. Why are they not getting this? It's so simple. As someone that considers myself straight, I mean, I've been with the same husband for like over 20 years, like 26 years. And then I met him when I was 18. So I only had one boyfriend before him. I would never go around being like, I'm super straight. I would.
It just makes
Why
no
would I-
sense to me. I don't think
Why
I've
would I
ever,
even say that?
I don't think I've
I mean,
ever
honestly,
told anybody I was straight. I don't think I ever needed to tell anybody I was
you
straight.
don't need you don't need to go around doing that. And I'm not offended by anybody ever making fun of straight people. Ever.
I could care less.
Ever. Like,
Oh,
I
I'm-
don't care.
I've seen this video by now, the super straight thing. Yeah, so many people have tagged me in this video, and I was wondering why no one else had responded to it. But then I realized it's because TikTok won't let us.
Constant straight phobia. Look, stop telling people what they should
The whole system is built for
Did he just
straight
say
people.
it's the constant straight phobia?
Here's
I've
my
never experienced straight phobia ever.
Here's my thing. I feel like this is a pretty decent standard to hold yourself to. If the Supreme Court of the United States has not had to pass legislation or a specific ruling to determine that you have rights equal to other people, You are not the oppressed group. You're not. You're just like I am laughing, but I'm like, seriously.
It is.
No,
it's true.
But they'll
You're
say,
not.
that's not true. That's not true.
Yeah, 'cause
Really?
listen, I can go to any courthouse in America and marry a woman, and no one's gonna have an issue with that. Literally, any courthouse
Exactly.
in America, any church in America, no one's gonna care. But yet, I
Yep.
do the same thing with a dude, and people are gonna have issues with it.
They're gonna lose their minds, and that's
If
what
you
happens.
walk hand in hand with your girlfriend when you're going out on a date, no one's going to look twice. But if you're walking hand in hand with a man, someone might look at you funny.
Now,
Now,
see,
if
that
you're
was-
walking hand in hand with a woman, of course, then you have guys getting off on it and going, "Ooh, let me see more." It's like, ew.
No one is getting
That's
discriminated against.
No,
I came out to my family as super straight and they disown me. Yeah, right.
said
Oh,
no one
man.
ever.
Said no one
Ever.
ever.
Well, not to be fair, if I ever had a child and they were like, "Mommy, I want you to know I'm super straight," I'd probably be like, fucking excuse me.
Now,
I would
now
I
because
would
they just said they
probably
were
now lose my
transphobic.
mind. Exactly. I'd be like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
that's
what it
hold
means.
on." I'd be like, "Let's check your unconscious biases here, kiddo. Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about?"
Because nothing's happening to straight people. No one is persecuting straight people. Straight people aren't fucking getting beaten in the streets. I do believe in Iran, they still execute. I could be wrong about this. I'd have to Google it.
Yeah, the Middle East in general is rough about that. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of rules to what women can and can't do too. So I wouldn't mess with
No,
that.
that's a whole other discussion.
That's a
I
whole
would
other.
love-
It's hard. And my family's from the Middle East, and my family's from Syria. So
I think
Oh,
my
that-
issue is with
Mhm.
America is why the fuck would people give a shit what other people do so much? You know?
'Cause we're
I
nosy
think
and
people
I
we're
don't
white.
care what you do in your house. I
We're
don't care what you
mostly
do in the
white. That's
street.
why.
It doesn't
they're
affect me.
threatened. Final thoughts on this? Because do you think it'll stick around, the super straight thing?
Yes.
Or do you think it'll slowly fade away because people just get it's kind of like, whoa, I feel like it's already starting to lose steam.
There's going to be a core base with this. And the core base, of course, is the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, QAnon people. I think that's going to be another one of their crosses to die on because that's the SS symbol.
They didn't even change it.
No, they literally
like,
said, hey, look,
It's
let's
just the
do
symbol.
same
Like,
I
so
think a lot of
that
people
might
called them
hurt
out.
a little bit, their little movement, because it looks
Yeah, that's-
exactly like the freaking SWAT or the SS.
I
But
think
other
people,
than
the gig is up though, because people are starting to catch on that they're being used. Some people didn't know. They really
Well,
didn't.
that one was it a 4chan post that you have which says
Yeah.
what they want to do? That just needs to start getting out there more. That's all. So people will see, oh shit, it was a fucking plot to, disrupt the the gay,
Yeah.
lesbian, and the community.
Yeah.
Alphabet community. Is that insensitive?
They jokingly call it the alphabet mafia, which I just think is funny, but
It's
the
cute.
LGBTQ community, yeah, no. I take no offense to it. So I guess my final thoughts, it's fucking stupid. I think I've made that pretty clear. It does obviously strike a bit of a chord with me, just in the sense of like, I've seen my friends who are lesbian and gay and bi and pan and trans, all of the above, deal with so much within their own lives. People who are transphobic want to masquerade around as the oppressed now. Do I think that it's ever going to catch on to the point where people are just like forced to give in and actually add it to the LGBTQ community? No, I don't think so. Majority of the LGBTQ plus community is pretty like, fuck no. You have no place with us here. The people who are trying to monopolize off it are always going to try and monopolize off of it. And unfortunately, it does just continue to show that we have, as far as we have come, there is so much further to go. And you can say that for almost any social movement or topic within the United States and across the world, as we have come a very far way. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a lot of work to do and to put in to actually make things actively better for all people. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
They have no reason to be part of the LGBTQ community because they're straight. It's not for them. The fact that they want to be added to something that's marginalized is it's bullshit, basically. It's a gimmick, like always, and it's just to get a rise out of people, pretty much. And if anything, it's a fucking hate group. So them to be included in anything is bullshit, and they need to stop saying it's highly offensive.
No, they just they just want to bitch and complain about something because there's literally nothing else to bitch and complain about.
Well, I'm going to wrap up this portion
Oh, yeah.
of the talk. So
Sorry.
thank you guys for watching.